Today we're going to be covering ProPanel and what ProPanel is and how it corresponds with LearnDash. I'm James Tryon, the LearnDash training specialist. For today, we are going to be covering what is ProPanel, setup and installation, reviewing all the widgets and functionality, reviewing how to manage assignments, how to look at user progress, and any other questions that might go along with the actual ProPanel experience. So what is ProPanel? ProPanel pretty much just gives you an easy way to look at all your data from your students' progress and courses and lessons and how everything's doing in a nice, easy fashion. You don't have to go all over the place or look at all the data yourself, compile the numbers. We actually can take that same data that you can get without ProPanel, and everything in ProPanel, honestly, you can see and get directly with LearnDash, but we're aggregating all that data in and creating forms and charts with it. I'm sorry, just charts with it, and everything that you can go, we'll be covering today. So it really just enhances the user experience for the admin users to be able to manage their courses better, see the health and activity of their students in real time, and have a single place to manage things. Let's say you have a lot of assignments or a lot of, you just want to see the activity of your class. We'll cover all that as well today. And this is ProPanel, actually. So I'll let this GIF play out for a little bit, let it loop a couple times so everyone can see what it is, but this is what we're going to be covering today. These are the ProPanel widgets. We have a progress charts, we have an activity feed, all types of great stuff that you can add to your course to help keep track of your learners. Let's cover the pricing a little bit. Technically, the ProPanel is a premium add-on that comes bundled in when you buy a larger LearnDash package. And to be clear, you cannot use ProPanel without LearnDash. ProPanel is an add-on directly for LearnDash, and it is used, all it does is show you all the aggregate data pulled from the different elements of LearnDash. So what metrics is ProPanel using? Well, we kind of talked about that already, but what you can see is you can see student progress, courses, pending assignments, and pending essays. Those all correspond to the widgets, and we'll go over those in a little bit. There's also filters that allow you to view specific courses, users, or groups, as well as send emails to the entire group or course, or to an individual user. So it does allow you to have direct communication directly from your dashboard without jumping around. Let's say you wanted to email an entire course, or let's say you wanted to email everyone in the course who hasn't started their assignments yet or hasn't turned them in. You can easily email them directly from ProPanel. You can also run reports. So installing and setting up ProPanel, this is a lot like any other plugin. You have two options. You can install it just like any other plugin. You can download the zip from the support site, and then you would browse to your plugins, add new, upload, and you would upload the zip, install it, and you're good to go. By install it, I mean click activate, upload, and activate. Now, let's put some actual disclaimers here. Make sure that you're never updating something in a production environment that you haven't already tested in a development environment. Make sure whenever you do update anything or add new plugins that you have a proper backup in place. Sometimes an environment will not let you just upload files. So let's say you're on something like Pantheon where production is locked down and you have to use Git to push or use their development flow to push up. So if you're in something like that, well then you can't just install it. You're going to have to go through a proper development process. But those aren't shortcomings of LearnDash. That's just development process. But if you're most people, I would say 95% or 90% of people who are going to be using LearnDash, you can just upload it and go. And then you're going to have to set up the widgets and functionality. So only the admins can see the widgets. Group leaders can see relevant data to their groups, and you can adjust the position of the widgets by dragging and dropping them around. So I think we should go through a couple live demos real fast just to explain what I'm talking about here. So what I wanted to show is how to install the plugin first. I am on a multi-site, so my experience is not the same as yours. Your plugins would be right here, and you would click plugins and upload. I'm obviously on a multi-site, like I said, so I'm going to go over here to plugins. You would upload the plugin here. So this plugin menu would look just like your plugin menu. Don't let my development environment confuse you. This is me using a multi-site, but this view right here, this plugin view, this is the same. Also, I know I have a lot of plugins here. Again, this is my development environment. This isn't live. They're not all on. So you would click upload, add new, and add it. So you would have to upload the plugin here, and you'd be good to go. So let's go back. Now this is the tricky part. Let's go and activate the plugin, and I'll explain what the tricky part is. A lot of times, the biggest support question I think we ever really have is, I've installed LearnDash ProPanel. Here, it's right here. I'll activate and deactivate it just so everyone can see. I've activated LearnDash ProPanel. Where is it? Well, the thing is, it's on your dashboard. If this is just a screen you usually go to and then leave right away, well, then maybe you might want to give yourself a little bit more time here and utilize this and hide all the junk you don't want. So first off, we have the options here at the top. Let's see if they automatically loaded. Yeah, our ProPanel stuff's here at the bottom, so we'll come back to that. But if you go to screen options, you can turn things off and on. Now, I've never created a web form. Oh, this is actually showing your traffic of your web forms. So you might want to see that if you have some submissions or other types of forms. Not a big deal. This is my Elementor news update. I don't really need that. At a glance is nice, but as far as today's purpose, we're going to hide that. Activity, this is the activity feed, any spam comments, all the progress on your site. We're also going to have an activity feed of LearnDash. LearnDash activity here. So if you're just concerned about your students' activity process, that's what this is. And I believe this activity feed, if it might be simple history, this plugin here, in case anyone else is wondering. Not promoting, not paid, but whenever I do anything on a strange site, or I like to install simple history, it tracks everything. We'll turn that off. Actually, this is the simple history widget over here, but that's the same thing. What else do we have? Okay, here's our ProPanel stuff. And we'll turn off WooCommerce thing. So this is only ProPanel stuff right now. Well, we still have the site health. Why is that there? There we go. And you can move these around however you would like. And you can see what's going on. So now I have my widgets, and they're organized however I want. And a lot of times that's the biggest part from ProPanel. Like, where's it at? How do I activate it? Like, a lot of times by default, they won't be on. So you won't see any of these. You'll have to come in and actually check your widgets you want and then position them and drag them around however you like. This is also responsive, so they'll wrap and move depending on your browser size. Well, we'll come back to that. You can see all your data. Group leaders themselves will only see their data, and you can adjust the position of the widgets by dragging and dropping them around. And now we're going to go over each widget in a little bit more detail. The overview widget displays the total number of students, courses, assignments that are pending, and essays that are pending. Each section is clickable, and think of this like a jump menu. So it can take you to that corresponding section. So if you need to review essays, you can click essays and it's going to take you directly there. So it's a nice little widgetable jump menu for what you're working on. Same thing, courses is going to take you to the course page. Students are going to take you to your students. And they're just quick links. We'll go over that later. We'll go back to the demo and play around with this a little bit more. The ProPanel filter widget. This widget allows you to filter courses, users, stats, users, and groups. So I think it lets you filter users' statuses and groups. It also lets you combine all these filters and then email whoever you want based off of those filters. So another tricky point, like I said earlier, the first one is, how do I activate my widgets in ProPanel? Like, where is it at? And then that's a simple thing. Same thing with this email. It might look like it's broken at first or it's not working. Well, it's actually dependent on the previous tab, and you'll start to see more tools. So things are dependent on other drop downs first in order to make the other tabs or other functions fully work. So just remember that. If your email isn't sending, maybe your filters aren't quite set. Some of the filters are completed, in progress, or not started. So let's say, we'll actually do this in a little bit. Let's say you want to email everyone in the group that hasn't started. Or you can email everyone in the group that's finished and thank them or congratulate them or tell them the next steps using this widget. The activity widget displays real-time activity of your courses, including lessons, courses, results, and timestamps. This data can be exported into a CSV file if needed for other uses. Supporting activities, course completion, lesson and topic completion, quiz completion. Reports include filterable data only. It's not going to give you a filter on essay data or fill in the blank stuff, because those are more subjective or require you to review them. Admins are able to view the user group activity. So admins can view everyone's activity, and group leaders can only view their group's activity. So you can assign group leaders and they can only see their activity. This is the report widget. What it does is it lets you generate lists of how everyone is doing. So think of this as like a status report. So you can filter down by courses, user, and groups. You can see what they're doing or how they're doing on a course, who's completed the course, or what user is completed what in their profile. We'll play with those in a little bit. You actually, in order to get this widget view, in order to get to filter, you have to define the other filter dropdowns first. So you will not see the filter results at first. You need to actually create a filter for the filters list results to show up. After you set the filters on your report widgets, you'll also be able to see some progress charts. A couple fun things about the progress charts. They're in 20% increments. If you wanted to change that increment, we do have a filter where you can modify that in the code. Simple function, you can change it for, let's say instead of 20%, you want that to change in 5% increments or 10% increments, just how you want the chart to move. We also allow hooks and filters if you wanted to change the template or what data is being shown in some of these filters as well. You would have to be able to modify some CSV functions, but there's filters for that. So if you've used filters before and you understand what that means, you can do it. If you don't, hire a developer that understands filters, and it's a built-in function that allows someone to modify these settings. It shouldn't be that difficult. It's built in to allow you to extend it. And you have the real-time activity feed. We kind of talked about that earlier. It displays everything that's going on in real time as it happens. Now, real time means every time there's a save, every time there's a function that happens. Again, the activity that's shown here is course completion, lesson and topic completion, quiz completion, and all the other data such as points and steps when it's applicable. How to manage your assignments. So I thought this was fun. A little GIF about I got my homework. So you can use When you click on the assignments tab, it'll take you down to the assignments area. And this isn't really ProPanel so much, but when you click on the assignments tab, let's go back here. Yeah, when you click pending assignments, and you can also filter by assignments here. So you can use your filters and see which students have and have not completed their assignments if you wanted to ping them and say, hey, you haven't turned this in. But if you click pending assignments here, it's going to take you to this list. It's a submenu here. That's where you manage all your assignments normally. Today's ProPanel, so we're not going to go too far into assignments, but basic assignments. Same thing with user progress. If you click students, you can see them, or if you filter down by seeing what someone is doing, and we'll go over that a little bit explaining this. This is student progress. These are students, users. Same thing, you would click total students, it would take you to the users section, and you can view it like that, but it's just a jump menu. But wait, there's more. There's always more. So there's two ways of dealing with ProPanel. You have the admin side, and then you can also take your code and create a dashboard on the front end. So let's say you had group leaders or instructors or TAs or someone else helping you, and you wanted them to manage everything on the front end or give them a fancy My Accounts page just like your users do. So you can use conditional logic around your shortcodes and say, I want logged in admin level users to see this, or I want logged in group users to see this. So you can actually use shortcodes and take everything that we've already talked about widget wise, all your widgets and forms, and put them on the front end, allowing your admins and group leaders to see them without going to the back end. You do have to be logged in to make this work. And I have not personally tried this on every user level. I know that it should work, or that's also why I said wrap it around logged in or not logged in. Just do a little bit more playing around with this before you actually put this into production. But I have played with it in a development environment. It's pretty cool. I have personally not had a need to extend a teacher dashboard yet, but this would be the perfect tool to do that. And we'll go through some use case examples for that in a little bit. You can also modify some of the output of these things using built-in functions that we have. This is how you would include the widgets on the front end. If you've used our shortcode inserter in the past, before Gutenberg, it's the exact same thing. If you're using Gutenberg now and you're not sure how to get to the insert shortcode block, I will show you that. And you can also just use normal shortcodes if you know the shortcode itself. You can get that from our documentation. In case you wanted to take it a step further in some of your other and more in-depth reporting options, you can use something like, if you needed something like SCORM or 10can API support, I would look into some of these options. These three options can be found in the third-party add-on section of LearnDash. These links are the links that if you click pricing, it would take you directly to the site. They're not affiliate links. You feel free to review them. I've used the gradebook add-on years ago. I have not used the other two. So feel free to check those out if you need to extend your functionality a little bit more. How I became part of the LearnDash team was years ago. My team built ProPanel and continued to work with LearnDash off and on for years. And then I became the training specialist. So personally, I really like ProPanel, but it is 8 years old. So LearnDash itself has definitely evolved. I like what it does. I think it's great. Again, I'm a little biased, and I think it's a great add-on tool to help manage your courses. So personally, I use it. I use it on all of our client sites, unless it's just a simple, random course or free course thing I'm not too worried about. But for anything that's a real course or any of value, any of our clients that are actually charging or have a registration, we definitely use ProPanel for all of it. And why not? It's included and we have it in our license. So I highly recommend it. Here's the links of all the documentation of things that we talked about today. And I want to go over some demos here, and then I'll definitely answer any questions and let everyone have whatever time they want to see if I can help with anything else. So what I wanted to show is two things. I wanted to show the filtering, and then I wanted to show the shortcode stuff. So let's move this widget over. And let's say I want to look at all my courses. Well, not all my courses, but I want to see all the users in this course. I can filter it. And I have 2 users currently assigned to my course for testing certifications. Let's look at my content marketing course. I can filter this down. And it's going to show me, let's hide that widget. It's going to show me everyone else. Now, we can see here that Evelyn has not started her course. So what I can go do now is I can email everyone and say, welcome to the course. Let's do that real fast. Send this. And this is only going to send to this set of parameters. So I can send that. It's sent to all 6 people. Let's see, there's a pagination. There's a 6th person on the bottom. Now, but we notice that Evelyn and James did not start their courses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Evelyn, what's up? So what I'm going to do is go over here, select Evelyn because it's only the people enrolled in this course. So now I can send this directly to Evelyn, and it's only going to send to her. There they are. I got the welcome email. And it's not fancy. And because all these test accounts are tied to fake email addresses that I made, I also get Evelyn's email. So that's nice. You can filter down. You can see what's going on. I can click on any of these things if I need to. I can look at, like we were saying earlier, total students. We can click on this. It's going to take us to our users. Now, the other area that I wanted to showcase was the shortcodes. So let's go and look at the how to add some of the ProPanel features to the front end. Let's go all pages. ProPanel on the front end. Okay, so I already started this. This is the new page builder. And by default, you can add blocks. I don't know. Yeah, there's no ProPanel block, but if we browse, you can see that there is a whole lot of LearnDash blocks here. I'm just making sure it wasn't here. I didn't want to be incorrect. Yeah, it's not. So that's okay. You have all your basic LearnDash stuff here, and you can add all your blocks all you want, but you can also add. So let's select this. This is a shortcode. You can get the shortcode from our documentation. You can add a shortcode block, meaning you can just do /shortcode, start typing. And Elementor would also have blocks that held shortcodes, and so would Beaver Builder and Divi. All shortcodes work in all page builders. So I can just hit enter and do that, or I should be able to just type the shortcode, and it's going to know it's a shortcode and wrap it in a block. So I literally, I just started typing, and it knew it was a it knew it was a shortcode. So I can do that just if I can go to the documentation and find the shortcode. Now, what if I don't know the documentation? Well, that's okay. And this is by default now. And if you've heard about Gutenberg in the past, you know that people are upset or they installed Classic Editor and all of those things. I'm not talking Classic Editor, the add-on. The page builder, which is the current stable version of Gutenberg, has a built-in classic block. So /classic, it shows up. Anything that used to work in your classic environment now shows up here. So I can click the LearnDash shortcode tool. At the very bottom, we have ProPanel. So anything that you would have done before is accessible right from the new page builder. Let's go ahead and give this an update. Now again, I would probably wrap this in conditional logic. We have some other webinars that talk a little bit about theming. You might want to look at those. If someone gets stuck on this, we can help. I believe we have some built-in tools and functionality for showing pages and user type if you leverage some of the group features. And I believe Uncanny Owl also has some add-ons that extend logged in and logged out if you want to stay in the realm of LMS. Now there's lots of other tools and membership plugins and things that'll help you do these. Conditional logic, but we'll deal with that on another webinar. So as you can see, now we have our widgets on the front end. Probably it as far as the actual content goes. So I have 10 minutes to answer questions if anyone has any questions. I'm going to work up the list, and I apologize for I'm not going to say anyone's names. I don't want to butcher them. So we have a question. Can you change the color of the pie charts? Not by default. That's not built in. Like there's not an option for that, but it can be modified in CSS, and how the pie charts render, the steps they render, and any of that can all be modified in a filter as part of the chart library. So yes, you can with a little bit of customization, but not through the admin. Let's see if I have any other questions. Okay, someone asked, how many students can the email feature send to? I have a group of 300. The email feature just spins when I try to use it. Okay, so the correct answer is it can send as many unlimited, but the problem isn't the email sender. The problem is going to be probably your SMTP settings, probably the cron settings, and the memory settings of your host. So to say exactly how many, I don't know. I probably wouldn't depend on the system to send 300 emails at once. That's not the problem with LearnDash or WordPress itself. That's just the limitation of shared hosting. And without knowing more information about your host and how your crons are set up and memory limits, it'd be difficult to say. It also depends on how big the content is. But without knowing more, I mean, you saw how fast it sent 6. I think it could send 300 if it was on a decent host. Like, I don't really see that being a problem, but cautious based off of how shared hosting environments can happen sometimes. Someone else, can you print charts or reports into a CSV doc? You know, there is a function for exporting that CSV data. So I'm going to say yes. I haven't done it, but I do know there is a filter. Let me see if I try to find that in all my other windows, it might not work well. So, but yes, there is a filter that lets you get that data. Now, I don't know if that filter automatically means it's exportable, but you should be able to tie into that or at least grab it. So I would say if you can do some custom programming, then you should be able to get that data. Thank you for everyone who's coming out and joined us today. If you like the webinar, or if you want more topics, please please let us know. You can find us in the Facebook group. We are going to be making some shorter videos that are a little bit more direct and to the point on what we're covering and breaking this stuff down. So look to keep an eye out for those over the next coming weeks and months. Again, if you ever need anything, feel free to use the Facebook group to your advantage. It's one of the most useful, helpful groups I've ever been a part of, and I really enjoy our community. Thanks, everyone. Talk soon.